see your ASD level 1 husband struggling with a task. So you offer a gentle reminder. You make a helpful suggestion to make his day or your shared life just a little bit easier. Why wouldn't you? Sweet thing to do. You organize his calendar, prompt him about an appointment, maybe explain the social cue he missed. Hey, your heart's in the right place. You genuinely think you're being a supportive partner, and why wouldn't you? Because you appreciate those things. You're a helpful co-pilot in this chaotic journey of a neurodiverse marriage. In other words, you're his seeing eye dog. I wish he could appreciate that. So you do all these things for him, and then you see his face. He shuts down. He gets defensive. He looks at you like you just pointed out another failure. You're trying to help, but from where he's standing, it feels like you're crushing him. Now, if this sounds painfully familiar, this video is for you and for him. In this series, I'm going to unpack why your help might be hurting, digging into deep neurological reasons this pattern shows up in so many neurodiverse relationships. And most importantly, I'm going to give both of you a new playbook, a way to communicate your needs without starting a fight, and a way to build a bridge of understanding over this canyon of good intentions, yet painful impact. And by the way, this isn't about blame. It's about finally understanding the different languages your brains are speaking so you can start translating for each other. From the NT wife's perspective, life often feels like a massive project she has to manage. She might see a dozen things that need doing at any given moment. Bills, appointments, social plans, household chores, and so on. She often becomes the default manager of all this emotional labor and the executive functioning of the home. Not because she's a control freak, but because she's terrified that if she doesn't do it, everything will fall apart. And this isn't a judgment on her ASD husband. It's a practical response to what feels to her like a very real possibility. When she says, "Don't forget the trash goes out tonight," it's not coming from a place of wanting to treat him like a child. It's coming from the anxiety of all the times the trash was in fact forgotten. The mental energy it takes to hold all these details in her head is huge. Her reminders are her attempt to offload some of the mental weight to create a team system. In her mind, a quick verbal nudge is the most efficient way to make sure the team wins. Her suggestions come from a similar place. When she says, "Hey, maybe you should call your mom. It's been a while," she's often trying to help him maintain social connections that she knows are important, but can be hard for him to start on his own. She's being a social buffer, a translator for a world that has a ton of unwritten social rules. When she suggests a different way to load the dishwasher or a faster route to the store, she's trying to optimize their life, to reduce friction, to make things easier. Her brain is wired to spot these potential shortcuts and point them out. Now, let's be clear. Her intentions are almost always rooted in love and care. She wants the relationship to work. She wants him to be happy. She wants a peaceful, functional home. The problem isn't the intention. The problem is that the impact of her actions lands in a way she can't imagine, because his brain processes the world and her words in a fundamentally different way. She sees a problem and offers a fix. He hears that he is the problem. She thinks she's offering a helpful map. He feels like he's being told he's hopelessly lost. This is where that crushing feeling begins. She feels confused and hurt. Why wouldn't she? Because her help is met with a wall of defensiveness or a total shutdown. From her side of the bridge, she's reaching out her hand and he's pulling away. She's left thinking, why is he so sensitive? Why can't he just take a simple suggestion? Why do my neutral comments get downloaded as an attack? I'm just trying to help. And you've probably lived it. This spirals into a cycle where she feels unappreciated and he feels constantly criticized. This is the heart of the matter, a deep, mutual, gross misunderstanding. There's a theory called the double empathy problem, which suggests these communication breakdowns aren't one person's fault. Instead, it's a mutual struggle to get inside each other's experience. She can't quite grasp his internal world and he can't quite grasp hers. What's the result? She often feels incredibly lonely and responsible for everything, while the ASD husband feels incompetent, controlled, and totally misunderstood. It's painfully exhausting and chips away at the foundation of the marriage. We're going to try to decode this crushing feeling that he gets when she tries to be helpful. So let's cross the bridge into the husband's world. To get why her helpful reminders can feel like a hailstorm of criticism, we have to look at the neurology underneath it all. And this isn't about him being too sensitive or difficult or whatever. It's about his brain's operating system. So let's call the wife's reminders and suggestions pings, P-I-N-G-S. To her, each ping is a small single piece of information. Take out the trash. Did you make that call? You should wear the blue shirt. Her heart's in the right place. I mean, I'm not faulting her, but to an autistic brain, these are not small isolated pings. They're piling up. There's this cumulative effect going on. They're interruptions to him, and each one carries a hidden and, quite honestly, a very devastating cost. So let's break down what happens inside the ASD husband's head. First, there's a concept called rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. Now, while it's not an official diagnosis, RSD is widely recognized as an extreme emotional sensitivity to perceived criticism or rejection, and again, you've probably lived it. It's very common in people with ADHD and ASD. So RSD isn't just feeling a little bummed out by criticism. It's an intense, overwhelming, and physically painful experience. Your simple suggestion might not sound like a suggestion at all to him. It can trigger a full-blown shame spiral, and then DNT wife is going to be on the receiving end of a meltdown or a shutdown or just a full-blown adult temper tantrum. Your ASD spouse's inner critic is probably already on a 24/7 shift, providing a constant, brutal monologue about his own flaws. Her helpful comment just serves as outside proof for that inner voice. It's the final piece of evidence that confirms his deepest fear that he is fundamentally broken, incompetent, and a disappointment. What she means as a gentle nudge, "Hey, don't forget the trash," can be processed by his RSD wired brain as, "You're the kind of failure who can't remember one simple thing. You're unreliable." Now, this isn't a rational thought, but it's a deep and immediate emotional wound that the NT wife had no idea was going to occur. The defensiveness and shutdowns that you see in him is a shield against that unbearable pain of feeling like a failure. Next, we're going to have to talk about executive function. These are the mental skills that help us get stuff done, right? Planning, organizing, starting tasks, short-term memory, and so on. Most autistic people face major challenges with executive function. He might genuinely struggle to remember a list of instructions to switch from one task to another, or to get started on something he doesn't find interesting, even if he wants to do it. Now, think about the wife's pings in that context. Every single verbal reminder is an interruption that forces his brain to stop, switch focus, process her request, and then try to get back to what he was doing. This task switching has a high cognitive price. For a brain that might already be running on a tight budget of executive function energy, these constant interruptions are completely draining. Now, imagine you're writing a complex email, and about every 90 seconds or so, someone taps you on the shoulder to ask you a random question. You'd get nothing done, and you'd end up frazzled and furious. That's his daily reality. Her reminder, meant to help him remember, can actually make it harder for him to function. It adds to the mental clutter. He might already have a system in his head for remembering trash. Maybe he'll do it right after he finishes his current thought, but her ping shatters his internal plan and replaces it with anxiety and the feeling of being micromanaged. Next, we got to talk about the critical need for autonomy. You, the neurotypical wife, have probably realized that your husband is a solo player who just happens to be married. For most autistic people, having a sense of control over their actions and environment isn't just a preference, it's a core need for feeling regulated and safe and sane. To the autistic brain, the world feels like a chaotic, unpredictable mess. So creating internal structure is not only a key to survival, it's a key to sanity. So when his neurotypical wife constantly jumps in with her suggestions, it can feel like a direct attack on his autonomy. He might have a very specific, logical way of doing something, logical according to him. Her idea to do it better isn't just an alternative. It's a disruption of a system he built to manage the world. It implies his way is wrong. It steamrolls his sense of agency. The feeling of being controlled isn't him being dramatic. It's the genuine neurological experience of having his own self-regulation system hijacked. And this can lead to what's known as demand avoidance, where even simple tasks become incredibly stressful because they feel like a demand that's stealing his control. Finally, there's sensory and cognitive overload. An autistic brain often takes in way more sensory information than a neurotypical brain and struggles to filter it. At any moment, he might be actively managing the hum of the refrigerator, the tag on his shirt, the bright lights, and thoughts from a conversation hours ago. His brain is often running at 90% capacity just to exist. And her verbal ping isn't just a sound. It's another piece of data he has to process on an already full hard drive. If he's focused on something, he might be in a state of monotropism, using all of his available processing power for that one thing. And her interruption isn't just his distraction. It can feel like a total system crash. His silence isn't him ignoring you. It's his brain desperately trying to allocate resources to your requests without losing everything else. And the shutdown that sometimes follows is basically a computer's blue screen of death. The system is overloaded and has to reboot. So when he says her help feels crushing, he means it. It's the weight of perceived rejection, the drain of task switching, the violation of his autonomy, and the final straw on his sensory capacity. He's not rejecting her. He's trying to survive the unintended impact of her communication. We're going to look at building a new communication blueprint. Okay, so understanding the why is half of the battle. Now for the how. How do you actually move forward? Okay, this is not about one person bending over backward to accommodate the other. It's about both of you recognizing your different wiring and co-creating a new system that works for both of you. It's time to stop trying to cram your relationship into a neurotypical box and start building one that honors your unique partnership. In this video, we're going to look at strategies for the neurotypical wife. Your desire to help is real. Your heart's in the right place. God bless you. Your need for a functional home is a loving mindset to have. Your need for connection is real. I'm not trying to get you to stop having needs. I'm trying to change your message delivery from one that feels like nagging to one that builds a real partnership and respects his autonomy. So your first strategy is to go from manager to co-architect. This is your big mindset shift. Stop being the project manager of your life and become a co-architect. Managers bark orders. Architects design systems together. Instead of relying on in-the-moment verbal pings, and we talked about pings in video 2, it's time to build external, mutually agreed upon systems. This means you need to fall in love with visual aids. Autistic individuals often find it much easier to process visual information than verbal instructions. Your ASD husband is a visual learner in a verbal world. So sit down together at a calm, neutral time, not in the middle of a fight, and design these systems. A big whiteboard in the kitchen or a shared digital calendar on your phones can become your new best friend. Instead of saying, "Don't forget the trash," the task, "Take out the trash Tuesday night," is just on the board. This simple switch does 3 magical things. First, it makes the whiteboard the bad guy, not you. Also, it externalizes the reminder and removes that feeling of personal criticism. Second, it respects his autonomy. He can see the task and decide when to do it before the deadline. He's managing himself now, not being managed by you. And third, it frees you from the mental load of being the keeper of all knowledge. The system holds the data, not your brain. Your second mission for the NT wives: master the scheduled check-in. Unplanned emotional talks can feel like a pop quiz for your autistic husband. Your quick question can feel like a grenade thrown into his focus. So schedule it. Have a 15-minute State of the Union meeting every evening or a bigger chat once a week. During these scheduled times, you can bring up logistical stuff, calendar plans, feelings that you need to share, and so on. Because he knows it's coming, he can mentally prepare and allocate the brain power needed for it. This keeps you from feeling like you have to bottle things up and keeps him from feeling constantly ambushed. You could even use a shared digital note for the agenda, adding topics as they come up during the week. Now there's not going to be any surprises. Okay, your third strategy as the NT wife is to talk about your needs, not about his flaws. This is a game changer. It requires a shift in your language. So instead of pointing out what he did wrong, you're stating your need using I statements. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me when I'm talking," try, I really feel lonely when I'm talking and don't get a response. It would make me feel so loved if we could set aside 10 minutes later where I have your full attention. Another example, instead of saying, why is this mess still here? I asked you to clean this hours ago. Try, I feel super overwhelmed and anxious when the kitchen is cluttered. It would be a huge help to my stress levels if we could just tackle it together for 20 minutes before we relax tonight. Now this changes the topic from his failure to your feeling. It invites him to be a hero rather than forcing him to defend himself from an attack. Be direct, be explicit, no hints, no sarcasm, no reading between the lines. Tell him exactly what you need and what a win looks like to you. The fourth strategy for you, the NT wife, is to learn to love the pause. When you ask him something or share a feeling, his silence is not him being rude or dismissive. He is a slow processor. Burn that into your brain cells. He is a slow processor. His brain is working hard to give you a thoughtful, accurate response. And if you jump in to fill the silence, you crash his program and he loses his train of thought completely. So get comfortable with waiting. You can count to 30 in your head, let him cook, let him play a video game, whatever. The answer you get will be so much better than the one you pressure out of him. So I'm talking to the ASD guys out there now. Your need for your own space, for autonomy, and to be accepted as you are is 100% valid. The goal here is to give you tools to ask for what you need in a way that your NT wife can hear and understand without things blowing up. So your first strategy is to write and share your user manual. Your wife isn't a mind reader, okay? She truly may not get your internal experience, but it's on you as her husband to help her understand. This means doing the work of self-awareness and then communicating what you find. So take some time, find out your triggers. When do you feel the most controlled? What happens right before you shut down? So you want to keep a journal for a week and look for patterns. Then you have to translate this for her. Think of it as creating a user manual for your brain. And it could sound like this. You're saying to your wife, hey, I want to help you understand how my brain works. When I'm focused on something like coding, my brain is at 100%. A verbal question, even a small one, feels like a system crash. It's not that I don't want to answer, but it causes me real stress. Could we try writing non-urgent stuff on the whiteboard for me to check when I take a break? The next strategy, create your go-to scripts. Now in a previous video, we talked about rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. So in the heat of the moment, when you feel that RSD flare up or that wave of overwhelm, finding the right words is basically impossible. This is where pre-planned scripts can save you. So practice them so they become second nature. If she gives you a reminder, you can say, hey, thanks for the heads up. It's on my plan to do that right after I finish this. It helps my brain to stick to my own order of operations. So in this way, you validate her while reinforcing your autonomy. If you're feeling overwhelmed, your script can be, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now and I can't process anything else. I need about 20 minutes of quiet to reset. Can we talk about this later? So this is a clear, non-blaming boundary. You're not saying, hey, you're stressing me out. Instead, you're saying, I'm feeling stressed. If your NT wife makes a suggestion that stings, your script can be, I hear you. My brain is telling me to do it this other way for now, but I'll keep your idea in mind. So this acknowledges her input without derailing you. Your third strategy will be ask for what you need proactively. Don't wait until you're already drowning. Be proactive about advocating for your needs. This builds trust and it shows your NT wife that you are an active partner in solving these problems. And this might sound like this. Here's your script. In our check-in tonight, can we talk about making the living room a bit more sensory friendly? Less background noise would really help me be more present with you. Or you could say, I know we have that party Saturday. To make sure I have enough social battery to be there with you, I'm going to need some quiet time alone that afternoon to charge up. Can we plan for that? So in this way, it shows that you're thinking ahead and taking responsibility for your own well-being. Your next strategy is reframe her help as a bid for connection. And this is a mental trick for you. Even though the impact feels negative, try to remember the likely intent. Her suggestions and reminders are often a clumsy attempt to connect with you to be on the team. When you feel that flash of shame for a reminder or a suggestion, or you download it as criticism, try to mentally relabel it. For example, she's not attacking me, she's trying to connect. Her method is wrong for my brain, but she cares. And this reframe can give you that split second you need to use one of your scripts instead of just reacting with a shutdown, meltdown, false agreement, or just a full-blown adult temper tantrum. It lets you see her as your partner who's using the wrong tool. She's not an enemy who's trying to hurt you. So in conclusion, and this is for the NT wife, your ASD husband's reaction is not a report card on your worth or the importance of your needs. It's a reflection of his neurology. By shifting your communication from verbal micromanagement to structured, visual, collaborative systems, you aren't giving up, you're learning to speak his language. You're giving him the greatest gift possible, which is the space to feel competent and in control, which in turn will lower his defenses and open him up to the very connection you're looking for. Now, to the ASD husband, your feelings of being crushed and controlled are real. They're a neurological response, not a character flaw, okay? But by learning to understand and state your own needs, by writing your user manual and using scripts to advocate for yourself that we just talked about, you're taking powerful ownership of your role in the relationship. You're teaching your NT wife how to love you in a way that actually feels like love to you. This isn't easy. It takes a ton of patience and grace from both of you. It means you have to stop seeing a problem in your partner and start seeing a problem in the system you've been using. The goal is to stop trying to fix each other and start getting curious about each other. You're going to build a new system together, one with whiteboards, scheduled check-ins, and clear, loving, direct language. This is how to stop crushing each other. This is how to change the story. And this is how to build a relationship that doesn't just survive your differences, but actually thrives because of them. If you found this series helpful, then please share it with someone who needs to hear this. And in the comments below, let me know what's one small concrete system you and your spouse can create this week to replace the helpful reminder. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you. Hey guys, this is Mark. Click on the join button underneath any of my videos, then click on members only videos, and then click on join. And for $9.99 a month, you'll have access to members only videos, which are excerpts from previous workshops I've conducted for NT partners, ASD partners, and the neurodiverse couple. New videos will be uploaded weekly.